Thanks for watching the Weather Channel. It's 1:30. You're watching us live from Atlanta, Georgia, and I'm Gene Rubin. We've been watching a lot of light rain along the southeast coast, moving up the mid-Atlantic coast this evening. Even some light snow, emphasize the word light, in parts of New England. But we will be looking at a big nor'easter developing with heavy snows over much of New England, parts of Pennsylvania and New York. We'll get to that in just a moment. But first, we're going to look at some of the rainy weather on the other side of the country into Seattle, Washington. This video was shot at the Ballard Locks in Seattle. It was a rainy and chilly day for much of the Seattle area and parts of northwest Washington state. About 1/3 of an inch of rain fell in this area in the past 12 hours. The rain is over now, just about over, and the weather should be great, really, for the rest of this holiday weekend. Let's look at the satellite map right now, and you can see what's going on in the Pacific Northwest and over much of the country. If we concentrate first in the Northwest, you see a lot of the moisture being moved up into Canada, up and over a big ridge of high pressure there. Also a little bit of an upper air disturbance bringing some light snows and rains to North Dakota right now. A little bit of light snow falling in parts of Iowa and Wisconsin, but again, it's very light. No accumulations expected with this upper air disturbance. Of more importance, though, is what's going on off the mid-Atlantic coast right now. Right now, things are pretty calm. A weak area of low pressure off the coast of Virginia. There is moisture. You could see it out here in the Atlantic. Some heavy rains, but most of them are off the coast of Virginia and Delaware at this hour. There is some light rains falling New York City over to Boston, a little bit of snow around Buffalo and Rochester and Elmira and Binghamton and New York. But that's about it right now. It's pretty light. Now, look very carefully. You're going to see a twist in the atmosphere right here. See these clouds moving west and these clouds moving east? This is the upper low pressure area. It's going to sort of act like a magnet. And as the surface low moves north, this upper low is going to keep the surface low from moving out to sea. It's going to keep it hugging the coastline, and that's the reason for the heavy snows and maybe heavy rains along the coast. New York, for the most part, New York City, will end up with mostly all rain from this event, but Boston and much of New England, interior New York, down to, let's say, the Catskills, into much of central Pennsylvania, you could get some pretty heavy snows out of this. Let's go to the west right now. We'll come back to your forecast in just a moment. There were some record high temperatures in, I believe it was Medford, Oregon. That's a record high for you today at 83 degrees. Look at all these warm temperatures. Seattle sort of short change there, 58 degrees with that light rain around. But south of you in Portland, it was 75. Look at these temperatures. And these high temperatures in the 80s, upper 80s in Los Angeles and San Diego, they were reached late in the morning with the easterly or Santa Ana winds. Then the onshore winds kicked in, and temperatures most of the day were in the upper 70s or low 80s, but it was hot. Looks like the Santa Anas are probably over. We're looking for a little cooler in Southern California for the next couple of days. High pressure, here it is, mostly offshore flow at least early in the day, and then the onshore flow, sort of a sea breeze type system or regime kicks in. Still, we have a little bit of fog now, Northern California around Arcata and Crescent City. Temperatures in the northwest look like this, mostly in the 50s and 60s, pretty mild this time of evening. Also pretty mild in Central California, interior-wise, along the coast, 53, a little cooler in San Francisco. 75 in Palm Springs, but cooler along the coast again. San Diego at 69 degrees. Earthquakes reported, nothing in Southern California. Into the central part of California, we had one earthquake there around Chico, registering about 3.3 on the Richter scale. Nothing in the Pacific Northwest, nor were there any earthquakes into our 49th state of Alaska. Around the rest of the country, here's an upper air disturbance showing up on the surface. There's a little bit of rain, freezing rain, sleet and snow in parts of the western Dakotas. And what we're watching, of course, low pressure off the coast here, going to be bringing all its moisture and the cold air in place. It's going to be a mess in the northeast the next several days. It's going to take several days to get out of there, but it's going to be beautiful. The rest of the country looks like this. The pool of cool air right around the Ohio Valley, Great Lakes, Northeast, 30s and 40s for highs, some 20-degree highs in northern parts of Maine. But here comes the warm air. Look what's going to happen. It's going to move eastward across the country. Here it comes. It's going to try to get rid of all those cold blue colors and push them off to the east and northeast on Thursday. Now, on Thursday itself, except for New England and parts of New York, the rest of the country is going to finally feel like spring all the way from, let's say, Cincinnati to Chicago to Minneapolis, St. Paul in the 60s on Thursday, 90s in the southwest, 80-degree temperatures covering all of Texas, and you had 1.5 feet of snow in Sweetwater in Nolan County just 24 hours ago. It's going to be nice in Texas. Just be patient. The warm air is coming. Spring is coming. As we look at Monday, again, the snows will continue to be heavy over much of New England. Little patch of light rain possible in the southeast. The rest of the country, except the northwest, very dry for Tuesday. A little bit of snow showers continue for Wednesday, and even Thursday, the snow continues.
Only Forever Storm Doors offer you the
forecasts at your fingertips. Just a click away on the World Wide Web when you get Weather Now from the Weather Channel. Now available on Pathfinder at pathfinder.com.
What can you do to prevent this?
See you next.
Great apparel for the great outdoors from Walls. Walls, leading the way outdoors.
Walls quality outerwear is available at a retailer near you.
It's Little Caesars. Stuffed crust pizza and pepperoni stuffed crazy bread for $8.99. You can't afford a big name. Now they want a sports celebrity. We can do sports.
Caesars stuffed crust pizza plus cheese and pepperoni stuffed crazy bread carried out just $8.99 or have it delivered. Delivery.
Minutes during our break here, just how many big nor'easters we've had, and I honestly cannot keep count of them. There's been at least 5 or 6, I believe, this winter and early spring, and here comes another one. Right now, not too much going on. We're watching a low pressure area off the coast of Virginia, right about here now, developing. Most of the moisture is just off the coast as far as any precipitation reaching the ground. Still a little bit of light stuff, light rain, light snow. The one exception, Worcester, Massachusetts, reporting some moderate, occasional heavy snow during the last hour. And I think that is a sign of things to come over much of New England, parts of New York State and Pennsylvania. And if you look very carefully here, you'll see a twist in the clouds over the eastern Great Lakes. The clouds here moving to the west. See them moving that way? The clouds here moving to the east, so we have this counterclockwise circulation. That's the upper low pressure area. And this upper low is going to act like a magnet to keep the surface low off the coast here sort of hugging the coast instead of moving out to sea. If we didn't have this upper low here, the low would go out to sea and there wouldn't be any moisture hardly in the northeast. But that's not the case. We'll show you that graphically coming up in just a moment. Also, we have a little bit of an upper air disturbance moving down into the northern plain states, bringing some light sleet and rain and snow mixed to the western Dakotas, and that'll spread into the central plains, but again, nothing to slick up the roadways or whatever. And temperatures are generally going to be well above freezing, and that's good news. Look at all these clear skies throughout much of the southern half of the country. Still some clouds hanging into Georgia in parts of the deep south, but they should be dissipating during the daytime hours tomorrow. Should be a beautiful Easter. Let's look at some of the cold record numbers around the country this morning. April 6th, that is, Saturday morning, Springfield, Missouri at 21 degrees. Even as far south as Brownsville, Texas, 45. So Saturday morning, lots of cold air in place. The warm spot in the country was the Pacific Northwest, with lows 5 to 10 degrees above normal. Currently, temperatures are still pretty mild. Portland at 63, a couple of 69s in Los Angeles and San Diego with plenty of clear skies. But here's the cool pool of air. You can see these 20s and 30s, Great Lakes, Ohio Valley, into the southeast, 39 degrees as far south as Atlanta, Georgia at this hour, 40 in Jackson, Mississippi. Cold air in place here, so we just bring the moisture in, and inland especially, some heavy snows will fall. Boston will start off maybe a mixture rain, snow, turn over to snow. Even Boston, some computer models are saying could get a foot or more of snow. New York, mainly rain out of this event the way it looks like right now, but stay tuned to the Weather Channel. It could change in the northeast. We will have heavy snow. Just who will get the heavy snow is still somewhat of a question mark. Freeze advisories out over parts of the southeast. Protect your tender vegetation if you haven't done that already before you go to sleep. And also before you go to sleep, don't forget to set the clocks ahead an hour. Here on the East Coast, let's see, we do that in about 5 minutes. Brad, set those clocks.
I got it.
Brad Edwards is going to set all the clocks here at the Weather Channel. He does it every 6 months when we switch from daylight savings time and back and forth. Along the East Coast, here comes that storm. And by midday Sunday, there's the low pressure area hanging along the coast. The cold air in place. The heavy snow is going to be falling between now and 7 o'clock tomorrow night. Most areas getting about 1 to 6 inches in this area. But after 7 o'clock tomorrow night, that's when the real snow machine turns on. And some cities and parts of, let's say, Vermont, New Hampshire, Maine especially, parts of even southern New England into Massachusetts, maybe Boston, a foot or more of snow before all is said and done. It's going to be slow to move out of the Northeast, and that's not good either. It could take several days before it moves out. Again, you saw on the satellite map, I just showed you this upper low pressure area. It's in place. It's not going to allow the low along the coast to move out to sea. It's going to sort of act as a magnet and keep the low closer to the East Coast. It's sort of a cutoff low. It's not going to go anywhere itself over the next few days. We have the cold air in place. We have the moisture wrapping around that low. And that means, again, the heavy snows Monday and Tuesday and probably Wednesday and Thursday. Snow showers will continue over much of New England. And again, change your clock. Check your battery. You don't want to be late to services tomorrow morning or whatever you may be doing on Sunday. Pacific regional forecast as we go to the west. The west is the best for Easter. Lots of mild temperatures, clear skies, probably some record-breaking highs. Planning to do some traveling on Easter, you might want to do it early in the day. In other words, if you already are at your relative's house, you might want to come back early because later in the day, snow is going to get really heavy in much of interior New England. Along the coast in Boston, you're going to get the heaviest snow probably after sunset tomorrow evening. That's the way it looks like right now, but stay tuned to the Weather Channel. That, of course, could change. Snowy travel also a problem back in the Dakotas, of course, in the Northeast, all the way into West Virginia. Not only tomorrow morning, but tomorrow during the day and into tomorrow night. The Northeast will be getting lots of snow. Rainy travel, parts of Florida and along the coastal areas of the Carolinas through tomorrow morning early. No windy travel expected. That's good news. Some foggy travel, though, in parts of Texas could reduce visibilities to under a quarter of a mile in some cases. Some big changes coming up this week. We'll give you all those details. And again, don't forget to set your clocks ahead an hour and have a great Easter. We'll be right back.
At Michelin, we believe a tire that's just good in the rain isn't good enough. Introducing the Michelin X1. With a 6-year, unlimited mileage tread life warranty. It's the one tire that gives you better wet traction than any rain tire, plus control in any driving condition. After all, it hasn't rained that much in years. The Michelin X1.
Find Michelin.